What's up everyone, Darcblade here with another episode in our Guide in Destiny series, where we bring you hints and tips to Destiny 2. Continuing with our sub-series looking at the various subclasses of Destiny 2, we're now moving on to the first Hunter subclass, the Arcstrider. The Arcstrider replaces the Blade Dancer found in Destiny 1, but bears many similarities. For example, it's an arc-based class. Arc-based attacks deal bonus damage to enemies who have blue shields. And secondly, it focuses on melee close quarters combat. But let's get into the episode and talk about its moves and abilities. Firstly, the grenades. The first grenade is the skip grenade. Once you throw the grenade and it hits a surface, be it a wall, target, floor, whatever, it will split on impact, creating multiple projectiles that will then seek out enemy targets. As these projectiles seek their targets, it means you don't have to be deadly accurate with the grenade. Whilst it can do okay damage if all the projectiles hit the same target, you have to remember that if there are multiple targets near each other, when the grenade detonates, the projectiles may not all go for the same target, giving you fluctuating AoE damage. The next grenade is the flux grenade. This works like a basic sticky grenade. Once you throw the grenade, it will explode after a short timer. You can also stick this to enemies, and doing so will deal more damage to that target, which helps in single target burst damage. And the final grenade is the arc bolt grenade, similar to the firebolt grenade found on the Darcblade Warlock. Once you throw the grenade, an initial circle will appear, after which bolts of lightning will shoot out from the center at any target within the circle. Again, you don't have to be too accurate with this grenade for it to deal damage. Anyway, moving away from the grenade to talk about their class ability, the dodge. There are two variations. The first is the marksman dodge. This allows that every time you use dodge, it will automatically reload your weapon. This can be very handy when you need to continuously fire at a target. The next is the gambler's dodge, which means that if you dodge near an enemy, you will generate melee energy, charging up your melee ability. Personally, Gambler's dodge works better when you're using Way of the Warrior, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, moving on to talk about their jump movements. Their first one is High Jump, which is the Hunter's basic double jump that allows you to get quite high. Their second is Strafe Jump, which again is another double jump but allows better directional control whilst airborne. And then finally is the Triple Jump, which is the standard double jump, but it allows you to jump a third time. Anyway, moving on to talk about their super ability, the Arc Staff. The Arc Staff is a very useful super, but it's close combat focused. Once you activate your super, the Arcstrider will form a staff of pure arc energy, after which you have multiple options available to you. You can press the melee button, which will do a standard swipe with the Arc Staff. This is quite fast paced and can be chained for combos. You can also press the fire button, which will cause the Arcstrider to swing the Arc Staff, sending forth a shockwave of arc energy. This can hit targets who are slightly out of range. You can also infinitely dodge whilst your Arc Staff is active. And then finally, if you jump and use the fire button whilst airborne, you'll do a ground pound, slamming the Arc Staff into the ground, creating a shockwave around you. This makes the Arc Staff very deadly at close range. Anyway, let's move away and talk about the two passive trees available to the Arcstrider. The first one is Way of the Warrior. This contains one melee attack and 3 passives. The melee attack is Combination Blow. This allows kills with your melee ability to trigger health regeneration and increase any other melee damage temporarily. The next passive is Combat Flow, which allows melee kills to recharge your dodge ability. Basically, getting a kill with your melee attack will instantly give you your dodge back. Next is Deadly Reach, which allows the Arcstrider that when he dodges, it increases their melee range, allowing you to lurch forward at enemies who are further away. Whilst this isn't a great distance, it still helps. As you can see, the melee attack as well as the 2 passives I already mentioned work well in conjunction with Gambler's dodge. All of them synergize really well, allowing you to constantly assault enemies in close quarters with your melee attacks. If you do prefer to play this way, make sure you bring some sort of close range weapon to fill in the gap when you can't hit someone in melee distance. And finally, the last passive is Lethal Current. This affects your super ability, the Arc Staff. After you dodge whilst the Arc Staff is active, each Arc Staff hit will create a damaging lightning aftershock. For those of you who aren't aware, when you strike an enemy with your normal melee strike when Arc Staff is active, you'll notice a small bolt of lightning continue forward from where you've hit. This can help deal with enemies who are bunched up together, as the aftershock will hurt anyone behind your initial target. Now moving away to the second set of passives, which is known as Way of the Wind. Again, this is 1 melee attack and 3 passives. The melee attack is Disorienting Blow. This causes your melee attack that when it hits an enemy, it will disorient the target, blinding them basically. It will also blind allies who are nearby the initial target hit. This gives you opportunities to escape when enemies get too close to you. The next is Lightning Reflexes. The description for this says that you are harder to kill while dodging. Basically, this gives your dodge invincibility frames, meaning for a period when you dodge, you will not take any damage. Whilst the practicality of this is in question in PvE, in PvP this can be very useful. Next is combat meditation. Basically, when you're critically wounded, i.e. your shields and that are gone, your melee and grenade abilities will recharge drastically faster. If you're taking on the harder activities that Destiny 2 has to offer, this is very useful. And then finally is focused breathing, which allows your sprint to recharge your dodge ability. It also increases your maximum sprint speed, making exploring and patrols go by quicker. Now overall, the Arcstrider is, as I said, a close range specialist. Their abilities, passives and even their super make them excel at this. That being said, take weaponry to fill in the gap when it comes to long range encounters. If you're using this subclass, it's better to get up close and personal. Use the environment to close the gap between you and your foes, and then unleash hell with your arc abilities. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you another episode in our Guide in Destiny series to the Arcstrider Hunter. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.